Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we welcome you all in today's session on services like a boss. As a quick introduction to our viewers, my name is Giran Moodley, and I'm a senior solutions consultant based here out of London, United Kingdom.
And I'm Andrew Johnson, senior professional services consultant hailing from Austin, Texas. Giran, I don't think we're at boss level yet. Can we kick this up a notch? Much better. In today's workshop, we'll be taking you through the process on how to construct your PagerDuty services in order to best represent your digital business. We'll also explore methodologies which demystify the journey of service ownership in order to accelerate your operational maturity.
Amazing. Let's get started. In this section, we'll dive into what services and ownership both really mean in the context of your organization and PagerDuty. But first, let's take a look at this from a different perspective. Take our friend Matt here. He's currently lost in a supermarket, confused by the items on his best friend's shopping list. I wonder what's actually on this list of his. Wow, looks like Matt has his work cut out for him. Fruit and veg, assorted meats, baby clothes, and stationery. Matt knows his best friend is extremely picky, and rather than grabbing any random items from the shelves, he seeks advice from specialists at each store counter. After all, would you consult your greengrocer on recommending the best ink cartridges? Probably not. In this regard, you could view the supermarket providing high-quality services to customers, with specialists owning those services. If we extend this analogy to other digital businesses, we see the exact same thing. Prior to the adoption of methodologies such as Agile and DevOps, organizations functioned in siloed environments where developers wrote big chunks of monolithic code and then handed it over to several other teams before it made its way to production. That model led to long feedback loops, communication gaps, blind spots, and other several unintended human factors that stifle a company's ability to respond to a customer needs quickly. Take some of these well-known household names. All of their services we interact with on a daily basis are expected to work flawlessly in real time, all of the time. It's very easy to assume that there is one point of failure for these applications, but underneath the hood, they are supported by ever-changing complex environments, which are delicately balanced across multiple cross-service dependencies. Modern consumers now expect convenience, speed, and personalized experiences when using digital applications. For any company to remain competitive, it is paramount that they're able to deliver the right functionality to the right people and at the right time, and that time must be fast. This is where full service ownership saves the day. Full service ownership is the model in which subject matter experts are empowered to own their services at every stage by using the build it, ship it, own it mentality. This model provides the framework for traditionally structured technology teams to innovate faster and run more reliable services. Once implemented, this leads to multiple benefits for the individual, team, and organization through empowering subject matter experts to own the systems they create, leading to higher quality and more resilient systems. It increases collaboration, which helps break down silos across the organization, where we can even focus on real-time operations and helping reduce business disruption through consistent, repeatable methodologies. Now, I'm sure all of that sounds amazing, but I bet you're wondering, how exactly do we get started with making the shift? Any big transformation requires executive buy-in at the top, along with agents of change on the ground to help demonstrate value to your organization. We can make the shift to full service ownership by taking a few key steps. With any new process, we mitigate risk by starting small. It helps to choose a non-critical production system and begin the process of breaking down your services. You should also look to implement a baseline of performance in your current system in order to see the immediate gains once you start to implement service ownership. As a next step, using agile methodologies, can be essential when implementing a culture of full service ownership. Modern work nowadays is often unpredictable, and these methodologies can help teams stay on track with long-term goals, even when the unexpected stuff occurs. Adopting this workflow can help identify things that are going well as potential blockers, accelerating those digital transformation initiatives. If possible, look at implementing full service ownership for greenfield projects, as they tend to avoid the past mistakes and you'd start free from inherited technical and organizational debt. It's simpler to start fresh and design a world free from legacy restrictions. However, if your goal is to improve organizational value, it may be better to serve your long-term transformational initiatives by selecting an achievable brownfield project. Here is a simple test for everybody. Are you likely to hear the phrase, "That's never going to work here," in your organization? If so, I would actually consider selecting an achievable brownfield project to start off with. Full service ownership is also contingent on communication, compromise, and commitment. It may sound like a relationship, but that's exactly what it is. When you're building something that others rely on, it means you're in a relationship with those individuals. It's far more effective to operate with complete transparency rather than being confused, frustrated, and distrusted. Of course, mistakes will be made. This transformation initiative is about learning a new operating model and adapting them to the needs of your organization. Individuals need to be empowered to make decisions and experiment while not fearing blame or retribution when making the wrong choice. A culture of psychological safety is one of the leading indicators that predict high performance amongst technology teams. As with any new skill, practicing in a low-risk setting builds the necessary confidence when the real thing occurs. Simulating business disruption is a great way for teams new to owning production services to be accustomed to managing these incidents when they occur. We can even loop back those initial baseline comparisons to see what has improved and where further efficiencies can be gained. At PagerDuty, we've been practicing chaos engineering by the way of failure Fridays for several years now. Each attack we introduce against our service lasts approximately 5 minutes. Between those attacks, we always bring the services up to a fully functional state and confirm everything is operating before moving on to the next attack. During these attacks, we will check our dashboards, metrics, to understand exactly what points to the issue and how that affects other systems in our environment. We're also keeping a note of our chat rooms when we were paged and how helpful that page was in the context of the incident. Now, with all of this information in mind, I will now pass over to Andrew, who will walk you through the best practices of implementing services with PagerDuty.
Thank you, Giran, for that useful insight. In PagerDuty, our platform is purpose-built to handle these very services, no matter what industry you support. In professional services engagements, we often find that customers have taken a kitchen sink approach, which isn't taking full advantage of our platform. They want to get started quickly, so they create a few general buckets for incidents to flow into and notify the same team. So this is our kitchen sink, right? We all wish our kitchen sinks looked this nice, bathed in light with clean marble countertops. But what we really have is this. We're often in a hurry. We just want to move on quickly to the next thing, and we tell ourselves we'll come back and clean this mess up later. Rarely does that happen, though. Tech debt builds, and soon we have a big mess on our hands. No one wants to claim ownership of the situation, and the problems begin to compound. One of the biggest challenges in technology is making the investments up front that pay dividends later. We have to resist the urge to manage our environment simply by attacking the next fire drill. Organizing your services well does take some effort, but just as when you're building that shopping list for the grocery run, you'll already be set up for success with your items organized by where they can be found in the store. The same is true with technical and business services in PagerDuty. When your technical services accurately represent the finer components of your architecture, and we relate those to the overall business services they support, incidents can be handled much more quickly without the frustration of who owns what, where the problem resides, or how the incident is impacting your business. So how does this translate to the PagerDuty system? On the left, we have an example of a customer who had created those few syncs to get started, but they had a hard time focusing on which issues were occurring more frequently. So we broke those down into the components they manage and the business services they support. Now they can accurately see the business impact of their incidents, and business stakeholders can subscribe to those issues they find most important. Instead of generic DevOps incidents, now we can see it's clearly a problem with the payments API. Further expanding on our platform abilities, should there be a new incident at the same time in the orders database, both the DBA team and the DevOps team for the payments API can be informed of their related incidents, as they both support the checkout business service. This situational awareness reduces mean time to identify issues and works towards faster resolutions. The DevOps teams can verify their API is functioning correctly immediately upon notification of the orders database restoration. How are these dependencies mapped in PagerDuty? It's very simple. Just head to the Impact tab on your service details screen. Here you can set new parent and child dependencies or review those already mapped. On the left, Guillermo can see that his payments API service uses the orders database, which has an open incident. When a responder is working on an incident that has a dependency, they will also have this knowledge at hand on the right side of their incident screen. Beth is working the incident on the orders database, and she can see that her service is in use by the payments API, and Guillermo is actively working on an incident there. She can coordinate directly with him and work towards resolution faster. With this new architecture in place, we can see that the payments API technical service has a major impacting incident, and it's impacting all of the upstream business services that we showed earlier. Stakeholders can then choose to subscribe to one or more of those business services and receive real-time notification of status changes in this major incident. They can also be added automatically by a response play configured on a technical service, or by a responder manually running a play at any time during the incident response. The question now is, how do you move to this model of service architecture and ownership? Here's where the rubber meets the road. We first need to define our technical components and how they impact our critical business services. With those technical and business services defined, we then need to know who will own them and how their team needs to manage being on call for those responsibilities. Next, we want to understand how those technical services depend on each other and support the business services we've identified. We can even create separate business status dashboards to focus on individual business services if needed. Don't forget that change events are part of our correlation of outages. Be sure to check out our dedicated session on change event integrations. Then we can take our incident response a few steps further. While we want to focus on having a single person own the initial response, we know that major incidents often take a team to resolve. The PagerDuty platform helps you automate these efforts with response plays to add responders and stakeholders with a single click. It's critical to remember that adding work notes helps keep technical responders up to speed with your progress, and status updates prevent the need for stakeholders to interrupt the technical response to ask for the latest impact and estimates to resolve. Real-time communication saves a lot of time over the life of a major incident. Finally, this improved ownership and organization of your services helps you to review your past incidents and gain critical insights to where your team should focus future cycles to improve service health and be more proactive in providing an exceptional customer experience.
Great work there, Andrew. We understand that the customer journey to service ownership can be a little daunting. After all, our three co-founders, Alex, Andrew, and Bhaskar, realized this while breaking down the monolith of Amazon.com. To bring us full circle, we'll outline a few ways which we can help accelerate your adoption of full service ownership. At PagerDuty, we're a strong advocate for sharing knowledge and best practices within our wider community. We've open sourced our internal guides on full service ownership, which enables organizations to adopt to this modern operating model, as well as addressing common concerns that can happen with this journey. We can further extend out this model by enabling your organization to implement a robust modern incident response process. And if all of this seems overwhelming, that's okay. We can do the heavy lifting for you. Isn't that right, Andrew?
Absolutely, Giran. This is the core of what we do in professional services. Whether you're looking for ongoing assistance through our gold and silver services packages, where we can dedicate several resources to your continued success, or if you're looking for a focused, project-based, and on-demand help from professional services, we're here to help your team achieve success on the PagerDuty platform. Professional services packages are scheduled in 3-week sprints, so depending on your needs, you can purchase a 3, 6, or 9-week engagement. Professional services on demand is for customers seeking task-based assistance. These are sold in 20-hour increments to be used over a 3-month period as you need us. To find out more on our best practice guides, visit the links provided to these microsites. And if you'd like to discover more about how professional services can accelerate your journey to full service ownership, speak with your account manager today.
On behalf of Andrew and myself, thank you very much for watching our session. Take care, and we'll see you next time around.